It's time for Touhou Talks. Alright, that's enough of that. This is your host, Commissar Mandar, recording from Kansas City, the great American Midwest. Today we have Touhou 11 Subterranean Animism. That's a mouthful. Love the title. This is one of my favorite titles for a Touhou game. Not really my favorite game. I will humbly admit that it is a tad too hard for me. I noticed that later in the Touhou series, the games kind of go up exponentially in difficulty, and this is number 11 is where it really starts getting tricky. Very tricky indeed. But without further ado, we'll start the game. I picked Glorious Nihonjo just for a change of pace. I love the Japanese language. I've tried very, very earnestly to learn the Japanese language. I do have a bit of it under my belt. I'm certainly not fluent right now. I'm trying to pour all my focus into learning Khmer because I do have aspirations of one day immigrating to Cambodia, becoming a U.S. expat. I can tell you if the GOP ever gets into power, I might just jump the gun and wing it and go straight over because I do not want to stick around for that. Anyway, I'll be choosing Reimu. I love that tiny hitbox of hers. No double entendre intended there. So let's begin. Anyway, on to this evening's Touhou talk. Koch versus Soros. The Koch brothers versus the Koch brothers family crime syndicate, I should say, versus my personal hero, Hungarian-born Nazi evader, I don't know if that's a real term, philanthropist, economics sage, multi-billionaire, and just plain out hero, George Soros. George Soros, I can't even, as a writer, I can't even put into words what I feel about this man. I would forfeit my entire life savings to throw myself over a field of broken glass and have him walk on my back to protect his angelic feet. Okay? I fucking love George Soros. I think he is, as one man beneath the sky, just two ears, just two eyes, he is a pillar holding us up as a species, standing in the way between us and these monsters, the Christian right, the GOP, this Christian white dark brotherhood, kind of an oxymoron, but these invisible yet visible rulers of the world who seek to enslave anyone remotely a degree of separation different from them. Now, a lot of people, when I tell them, oh, just to interrupt myself, by the way, I'm going to try to upload this video in parts, break it up into parts, because uploading last night's Touhou talk, it was just published this evening, but I had actually recorded it last night, my 420 Touhou talk. It took me 920 minutes to upload that to YouTube. I re-downloaded Virtual Dub on my computer, so I can hopefully at least cut down the multi-gigabyte file sizes by half so YouTube does not choke on them so much. And also, I'm going to try and break this up so I can upload these in a reasonable amount of time. Anyway, going back, when people hear the way I speak about Christianity, organized religion as a whole, Abrahamic religions, especially those following the prophet Abraham, most people assume I'm atheist. I am actually not atheist. Guess again, I am a Sabbatian Jew. I follow the Sabbatian sect of Judaism. That's probably a new term to a lot of people. For those who are well-versed in fringe topics, conspiracy, probably know all about Sabbati and the Sabbatian sect. But to speak to a layman, Sabbatian Judaism is a sect of Judaism. I died, but I'm doing pretty good in this game so far. Sabbatian Judaism is a sect of Judaism that follows Rabbi Sabbatai Savai, the kind of unofficial messiah of the Jewish people, or at least just the Sabbatian sect. Interesting facts. He was a rabbi born in the then Ottoman Empire, born in, I think, Izmir, Turkey. He served as a rabbi. He declared himself to be the Messiah of the Jews in the year 1666. Funny thing, 1666, significant number, ain't it? A lot of Christians claim that 666, pardon me, is the number of the beast, the number representing Satan. Pardon me. As for what to say about that, maybe yes and no. I don't consider Satanism to be evil. I don't consider Luciferian philosophy to be evil. There's a lot I could say about that, and I don't really want to get too deep into that because that's about 3 videos worth of subject matter, but I think you can almost say that the latter, the subsequent fact explains the myth, as Christianity wants to demonize Sabbati Savai as much as possible when he was the George Soros of his time. He was a progressive, a humanist philanthropist in a time when such a thing was, in a time and place when such a thing was practically unheard of. He was a male feminist in the 1600s, the mid to late 1600s, okay? You know, talk about being ahead of your time, and Christians, of course, will label Sabbati Savai as a Satanist. But in terms of modern-day Sabbatianism, we are the sect that pretty much accepts the Rabbi Sabbati Savai to be the Messiah of the Jewish people, or at least the closest thing to such. Among Sabbati Savai's followers were Nathan of Gaza and Jacob Frank, who played a big role in, I believe, the formation of the Freemason sect. As far as my opinion on Freemasonry, I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth on that. Fun fact, there is actually a Masonic temple across the street from where I live. You can see it just by looking out my window. I love rollerblading in their parking lot. They got a great, smooth parking lot. But anyway, a lot of people say that they are a malevolent group of people. Me, Honestly, I don't really know. I'd have to do a lot more research on the subject. I haven't researched too deeply into Freemasonry, but sorry, my mouth is so dry. I got that spring hay fever. I live in Missouri, and when spring springs here, it springs. Everything is in bloom. It looks lovely. It looks like rural Japan is what I would compare it to, but it doesn't do my hay fever any favors. Anyway, before I derail myself, Sabbatianism, Freemasonry. It's believed that, well, Freemasonry began as having a lot of Sabbatian influence. I don't know if it maintains that today. I have a strong gut feeling that Freemasonry has been infiltrated heavily by Christians and not so nice, not so intelligent, well, maybe a bit of intelligence, enough intelligence to infiltrate what I believe started out to be a benevolent group and twisted it into something that is not in the best interests of the people anymore. I truly do feel that Freemasonry started out as a something in the benevolence of the people. In the time of Sabbati Savai, it was just after the Renaissance. We were coming out of the Dark Ages. I'm sorry that I am doing so horrendously at this game, but like I said, Touhou 11, love the music, am not fond of the difficulty level. But anyway, we were just coming out of the Dark Ages, and I think Freemasonry was really intended to be a place that existed to protect knowledge. We didn't want to have another burning of the Library of Athens. We didn't want to get set back again. And, well, we know how much Christians, the piggies, hate progress. So I'm sure, or, almost sure that Freemasonry has been infiltrated by Christians aiming to undermine it and making sure that, knowledge stays out of the hands of the average citizen. Like I said, especially in this country, we do not want to have a population of smart, educated citizens. That is not in the best interest of the, the Christian club, the Koch Brothers, the people at the top, the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Rockefellers, yada yada yada. Actually, I'm not sure if the Rockefellers are officially Christian, but honestly, I have known it to be true that Christians like to play the fake Jew game. I think there are a lot of Christians who are, well, Jews who are crypto-Christians. I think they've even tried to infiltrate a lot of Judaism. If you look at Israel and Israel's foreign policy, I am a Jew. I am not very pro-Israel. They need a lot of reform on their foreign policy. What they do to the Palestinians is horrendous, but again, that is a topic for another day. But anyway, yes, I am a modern-day Sabbatian Jew. The reason behind that, going into a bit of the history of me growing up, developing my religion, I was born to a Reformed Jewish mother and an Irish Catholic father. What a combo, right? Jewish guilt on top of Catholic guilt. Anyway, as it's usually believed, as the custom goes, children, at least in this society, take the religion of their birth mother, so that makes me a Jew. My mother was adopted. She was given away by a Jewish mother to another Jewish mother, adopted by a Jewish family. So I am a half-blood Jew. I know that sounds like Harry Potter, like the half-blood prince. Professor Snape would totally do dirty things to Professor Snape. But I digress. I can trace my Jewish lineage back to Israel itself, so I am kind of part Sephardic, part Ashkenazi Jew, but overall a half-blood, very good Jewish blood, halved with Irish Catholic. Catholicism, never even dabbled into it. I didn't have any formal religious education growing up as a child. I was a snotty little brat. If you forced me to go to Sunday school or Hebrew school, I would have just screamed and pitched a royal fit. You're gonna make me go to school after school? I have a chronic love of learning, but a chronic hatred for the classroom. I'm a college dropout. I attended Brookdale Community College in Lincroft, New Jersey for about a year. I have about a year and change worth of college credits. I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed having my second philosophy class. I was lucky enough to have a philosophy class in high school. I think philosophy education is 100% necessary. I think it teaches you how to learn, and it should be a mandatory subject matter implemented in high schools. I was very lucky to have a high school where that was implemented. And I had another excellent philosophy class in college. I kind of flip-flopped around with my major because I had a lot of different passions. It's not so much that I didn't know what to do with my life. It was more so that I wanted to do everything at once. And me being the little ADD spaz that I am, it's like, oh my god, I want to do psychology, oh my god, I want to do environmental science, oh my god, I want to do creative writing, oh my god, communications, sensory overload. So that was basically my college experience. I wanted to do everything at once, so I could never pick a major. I was lucky enough to have my parents pay for some of my college, but most of it I paid for out of pocket. I was very smart in that aspect. I never paid for more college than I could afford. I did not want to go into debt. I had a lot of insight onto what debt can do to your life, how debt can permanently change your life. That's, again, a subject for another day. Getting back, I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. I did not have any formal religious education, and I didn't even dabble in Christianity. Mostly because, I had been to church. My Catholic aunts, I would sleep over. One of my favorite aunts' houses to sleep over was my Aunt Joni's. I was a little spoiled kid that got to celebrate Jewish holidays and Christian holidays. I had Hanukkah and Christmas, Passover and Easter, double presents, double candy. I like to consider myself privileged but not spoiled. Privileged but not spoiled. But I had been to church, staying over my Aunt Joni, especially's house. I would sleep over her house on Saturday night and go home on Sunday. And we would get up in the morning, and she would take me to church. And even as a child, church had a certain je ne sais quoi for me. it just gave me this uncomfortable feeling that I really couldn't place. And, as a child, as a 7, 8-year-old child, even though I considered myself to be a very precocious child, no kid really understands what's really going on in the Bible when someone's reading you the Bible. And church just really gave me the heebie-jeebies. I would sit there and, this guy's talking about eating blood and flesh of Christ. The songs kind of set me on edge. They're talking about hell and sin and burning forever in hell. And, you're a 7-year-old, 8-year-old child listening how you're going to burn in hell for not just a number of years, for all eternity. And you're looking around and you're saying, there are grown-ups listening to this. This sounds like something out of my fairy stories, and there's grown-ups listening to this. Going to temple did not give me the discomfort that going to a Catholic church did. I kind of felt a sense of peace at temple. I felt like, the rabbi he was not imparting doctrine, he was imparting wisdom. And even as a child, I had the intuition to sense that this was not something oppressive. This was a man imparting wisdom that I could take or leave, that I was allowed to question. Look how cheap this boss is. This is why I don't care for Touhou 11. Oh my god. Luckily, I have skills. Yeah, right, I do not have much Touhou skills to write home about. But getting back on track, going to the synagogue did, give me a sense of peace. At an early age, when I became a teenager, there were aspects of Judaism that made me uncomfortable. It kind of gave me the same, not the same discomfort as Christianity, but there were aspects that made me uncomfortable. My mother talked about Israel a lot. That kind of made me uncomfortable. Certain rituals, certain aspects of the Jewish faith made me uncomfortable. Jewish supremacy at that age did make me really uncomfortable. My mother and grandmother would talk about families they knew that would not allow Christians in their home. If their children married a goyim, they had to stay home, okay? They would not allow the goyim in their home. And as a child, I really didn't feel comfortable with that. Now, not to be prejudiced, but I kind of really see where my relatives were coming from with that. Now that I've seen, the evils of Christianity. I mean, fucking A, just look at the Westboro Baptist Church, something like that. And you kind of do start to really reflect on Talmudic passages about Jewish supremacy, saying, maybe it wasn't all that far-fetched. You see Islam, extreme Islam. There is genuine Islamic terrorism. I think a lot of Islamic terrorism is staged by the U.S. government, but there is genuine Islamic terrorism. You look at Christian terrorism, both parties just killing indiscriminately. And show me where the extremist Jewish massacres are. Show me those massacres. Come on, go ahead. A lot of people try and frame Jews for doing false flag attacks, but I have yet to see any real concrete proof of those things. Israeli people do propagate genuine false flag terrorist attacks. Benghazi, I believe they did have a hand in 9/11, but as I said, I think Christianity, Jesuits, Jews for Jesus is something that has infiltrated the Jewish faith. I mean, you don't see a lot of native Israelis going for these all but genocidal policies of, not allowing anybody else protect themselves. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's not the natives of Israel. Most of the time, it's Ashkenazi Jews who have made Aliyah. And honestly, I'm not sure how many of these people are genuine Jews. I think that there are a lot of imposters, making the decisions and pulling the strings around Israel, because Israel is a very powerful force in the world. So, with Christianity, with this Christian dark brotherhood, that if there's power, it must be seized. These people have to control everything, whether you want to call them the Dark Brotherhood, Freemasons, Illuminati, Council of the 13, Bilderberg Group, whatever you want to call them. These people who are just pulling all the strings have virtually just inexhaustible power over so many things. God, my throat is dry. Sorry. Maybe I'll wind up beating this level tonight. But anyway, if it has power, it has to be seized and controlled by these people. Anyway, I am going to momentarily stop the video here before I suck up too many gigabytes. I will be right back, folks.